Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever Q&A session here on What the Health. I asked you guys on my Twitter page and the Facebook page I have for my main channels if you had any questions, and you left me some great ones. I'm going to answer those for you now. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments of this video and I'll hopefully get around to answering them in the next video because I want to make this more of a little series. So question one came from Claire on Twitter. I have them on my phone here, and she says, what do you do for motivation when you're just not in the mood for working out? So this is a really good question. It's something that I come up against every now and again, and what I try to do is focus on that feeling of finishing the workout, feeling really proud of yourself, really fit, really healthy, everything's kind of pumping and flowing and you're feeling great and you feel ready to start the day, and I love that feeling. If you have a little post-workout ritual as well, it's also nice to look forward to that. So for example, I do fitness blender workouts, and at the end of each workout they say workout complete or this workout is complete, and that screen of seeing that and hearing that message is just a really good thing to strive for. If you have like a beauty routine or something you do after your workout that you look forward to, that's something nice to bear in mind as well. Just think of getting to the end goal, and that's what I did at the beginning, and then I worked back and I actually found myself really enjoying the workout itself. The next question is from Maris on Facebook, and it's how often do you eat burgers, chips and junk food? So I don't eat meat burgers because I'm vegetarian, but I do have veggie burgers and things like that. And to be perfectly honest, the answer to this question is, at the moment, I eat these things too often for my liking. I find fitness super easy to stick to. I love working out, I love all of that side of things, but the healthy eating things sometimes is a little bit more difficult for me. Things like chips I love so much, and I do have to really sort of make myself think, you know, do I really want to go down this path today, or do I want to eat a more nutritious, wholesome diet? And I do fall off the healthy wagon a lot, but I get back on, and it's all about, you know what I always say, take it an hour at a time, take it a meal at a time, take it a day at a time, whatever works for you. You can't beat yourself up about your last meal. You just have to move forward, make a healthier choice next time. That's how I like to think of it. My diet is far from perfect, but I'm trying, and I'm motivated to keep going and keep improving it. Next question is from Holly. If you could eat one unhealthy food for the rest of your life and not gain weight from it, what would it be? Ooh. I'm really torn between pizza and chips, because like chip shop chips with loads of salt are just my favourite thing. Pizza, I love pizza, but I feel like I could eat chips every day, but I couldn't eat pizza every day. So I'm gonna go for the really salty chip shop chips. They're such a treat, but I love them so much. Next question is from Leo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. How do you not get bored with your food? Sometimes I just don't want to eat vegetables because it's always the same. Do you have some kind of favourite recipe for vegetables? So I do sometimes get bored with eating a lot of veg. Fruit, for me, I can eat fruit all day long. Vegetables is a little bit trickier. I actually made a whole video on this subject, so I'll link that for you, about how to enjoy vegetables more, so that might be a bit of a like more whole answer to your question. Just try and, you know, try new things, try and make the vegetables you eat a little bit more interesting by adding things like different flavours. So I mentioned the example of adding lemon juice to broccoli. I find that really, really helps. And just trying vegetables within different dishes. So like, if you don't just want to eat a plate of vegetables, because not that many people do, just work vegetables into your other meals. So if you'd have just had like a big bowl of like pasta with a pasta sauce on, chuck a load of like roasted Mediterranean vegetables into that, and then you've got some vegetables into the mix at least. It's not easy, and vegetables are a bit of a tough one for me. I just like to experiment, really. The other day I made this thing with courgettes or zucchini. I always say it wrong. And we just call them courgettes here in the UK, so this whole zucchini word is a new thing. And it was, I kind of cut them in half, scraped out some of the seeds, filled them with like this quinoa that I'd cooked in this delicious like stock, and had a little sprinkle of cheese on top and grilled them, and they were delicious. So just little things like that, and just making things as interesting as possible. Erica asks, what's the best way for you to stay motivated to exercise? There's some days, for me, especially now during finals week, that I just don't want to do the work. So if you're really busy, this is a difficult one, because when you are busy, your brain prioritizes prioritises, and it just might be that exercise is not on that list that day. And you know, if it's a couple of days, just don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. That's the worst thing, because you end up feeling terrible about everything. And I know this, and Erica, I totally get this, because when I was at university and I was doing my exams, and sort of especially towards the end of university, exercise was the last thing on my mind. I was very unhealthy. I ate a terrible diet and I didn't do any exercise. And at the end of all of it, I felt at my worst point, and that's what would motivate me to not give up exercise again, because I know how terrible I felt without exercise. But you know, that's not the same for everybody. I think in terms of the motivation to make yourself exercise, especially if you're very busy, is to set aside that portion of time, whether it's only half an hour. I know Fitness Blender have this like 5-day program for busy people, and every workout's under 30 minutes. Set aside that 30 minutes and see it as almost like a treat or a break from your studying, because it's such a different activity, and just go for it for those 30 minutes. And it's amazing how much it's a stress reliever as well. I wish I'd been exercising during my very, very stressful end of university time, because my friends who I live with all did exercise and they were nowhere near as stressed as I was, and it must have been something that contributed towards it. So it's actually a really great stress reliever. It can make you like look and feel better, and it's a great thing. It's all about prioritizing it and just realizing that there are so many benefits to it. Kat asks how to have a healthy diet whilst at university. Well, as I mentioned, my diet was atrocious when I was at university, and if I could go back and do it all again, I absolutely would change so many things about it. So I'm going to give you some tips that my housemates, who are much more healthy than I was, did. So they did things like joining up as a pair, and they would go to like a local sort of greengrocers and buy fruit and veg together, and then cook together. And that motivation of having someone else to plan your meals with and be healthy with, if you've both got this agreement, it makes it much more easy to stick to. Because I always did everything sort of on my own in terms of meals and food, so I could, if I said, well, I just want a takeaway tonight, there was no one else to tell me to no, because we've got this food that we're going to cook ourselves and be healthy. You don't have that other person. It's like a healthy food buddy. I did not have that. I was just too stubborn, and my schedule was very different to other people's. But buy the food that you want to eat, because I would just buy sweets, convenience food, chocolate, crisps, and then I'd wonder why I put 2 stone on at uni. And I don't think I bought a vegetable the entire time I was at uni, which is just awful, and it's like makes me feel ashamed because it's so different from my life now. But buy the food that you want to eat, and that's what you will fill your diet with, because it's naturally what you've got to hand. I know university's stressful and you feel like you don't have the time, but making the time will be so much more beneficial in the long run. I promise, it's worth it. And the final question is from Rebecca. Are there any travel-friendly meals that you can think of that are healthy? I work shifts, and that means I have to have my dinner in work, and it's my downfall. I totally get this one too. I've worked a couple of part-time jobs when I was at college and things like that, where I was either working at a service station where the food option was like the fried food from the motorway service station, or the McDonald's that was there, or whatever. And I also used to work in a town. I worked at Claire's Accessories, but I was working in town, and all that there really was like Subway, McDonald's. Subway's not too bad, but you know what I mean. And it was very limited. You were pretty stuck. I always think of the phrase, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I always try to think of things like this. So maybe one of the keys of things you could do that will take up less time is to prepare your food in advance and kind of store it in Tupperwares, whether they're frozen or in the fridge or whatever, and then have those portions ready to grab to take to work. So that's a nice method to do, to prepare however many you need in advance. Obviously make sure that it's nothing that would go off or anything like that. I always think when you're preparing food to take somewhere, that I think one of the important things is that you could have it cold if you wanted to, because it's not always possible to heat something up. So I always think making something like a big batch of like quinoa or something that is still really tasty when it's cold, is always a good idea. So you could have like a quinoa bowl, which is full of like vegetables that you'd roasted in like a really nice sort of with nice flavours, spices, whatever that you like, all kind of mixed up into there. If you like beans, that's always good. I do not, unfortunately. Mixing things up, making like a quinoa bowl, a wholemeal pasta salad or something like that is very filling, as long as you kind of cram it full of as many veggies as you can, and something like a tomato sauce that might still have quite a nice tang when it's gone cold. If you can reheat something like a pasta dish with loads of veg, that's always going to be quite nice as well. And then because the summer months are coming up, I know it sounds really boring, but an interesting salad that you can make. So a salad that I love to make is sort of all the lettuce and all the kind of everything like that, some carrot sticks, cucumber sticks, some protein of your choice. I would have like something like the corn cocktail sausages, some sort of cut up apple, even though I know that can sometimes go a little bit brown, but it's still okay. Something like couscous with it, maybe some olives. Just mix it all up and just make an enormous salad bowl and just tuck into it. There are a lot of options. It's sometimes a little tricky to feel like you have to transport them, but playing around, making sure that you get like loads of veggies in there and take some fruit as snacks as well is always a really good thing. I always think bananas are like the most awesome ready-made transportable snack ever. So it is difficult because I know, especially when you're tired after working shifts, you just do not want to be preparing all this, but doing it in advance can be a really good sort of time-saving thing, and it makes it easier on the day. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed my first What the Health Q&A. If you have any more questions, leave them for me below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos and follow me on Instagram, Twitter and my blog. Everything's in the description. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye!